When Lucy Sanders woke up that Monday morning, she had no idea that a seemingly whimsical visit to a psychic would set her on a path filled with comedic disasters and surprising revelations. Lucy was a 30-something graphic designer living in a cozy apartment in the heart of the city. Her life was perfectly curated, from her minimalist home decor to her meticulously planned career path. The only thing missing was a partner to share it with. After a particularly disappointing date the previous weekend, Lucy's best friend, Anna, had suggested a trip to Madame Zora, a well-known psychic. Lucy was skeptical, but decided to humor Anna. As they sat in the dimly lit room filled with the scent of incense and the glow of flickering candles, Madame Zora peered into her crystal ball and made a startling declaration. "You have already met the man you are destined to marry," she intoned, her voice echoing with a mysterious certainty. Lucy's initial reaction was one of disbelief, but as the days passed, the psychic's words gnawed at her. The more she thought about it, the more the idea took root in her mind. Perhaps, just maybe, her soulmate had already crossed her path, and she had been too blind to see it. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, she decided to compile a list of her ex-boyfriends and revisit each one, hoping to uncover the elusive Mr. Right. Her first stop was Brian, her high school sweetheart. Lucy remembered him as a gangly, awkward teenager who loved science fiction and chess. They had broken up just before graduation, each heading off to different universities. Now, years later, she found him on social media and arranged a coffee date. Lucy arrived early, nervously smoothing her dress and checking her reflection in the coffee shop window. When Brian walked in, she barely recognized him. Gone was the awkward teenager. In his place stood a confident man with a stylish haircut and a tailored suit. They exchanged pleasantries and caught up on old times. But as the conversation progressed, it became clear that Brian was still obsessed with his teenage hobbies. He spent the entire date talking about the latest developments in quantum computing and his extensive collection of rare comic books. Lucy tried to engage Les, but it quickly became apparent that their lives had taken very different paths. As she walked away from the coffee shop, she couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the situation. The psychic's prediction seemed more dubious than ever. Next on her list was Mark, her college boyfriend. They had dated for 2 years, sharing a small off-campus apartment and countless late-night study sessions. Mark had been her first serious relationship, and their breakup had been messy. Lucy tracked him down to a bar where he was performing with his band. As she listened to him sing, memories of their time together flooded back. She approached him after the show, and they spent the evening reminiscing about their college days. But as the night wore on, it became clear that Mark had not changed. He was still the same free-spirited musician, living gig to gig without much thought for the future. His carefree attitude, which had once been so appealing, now seemed irresponsible. When he invited her back to his place, she politely declined, realizing that Mark was not the one. The following week, Lucy met up with Tom, her first boyfriend after college. Tom had been a charming and ambitious young lawyer when they dated. They had broken up because their careers took them in different directions, and they struggled to find time for each other. Meeting him for dinner, Lucy was impressed to see that Tom had climbed the corporate ladder and was now a successful partner at a prestigious law firm. However, as they talked, it became clear that Tom's ambition had only grown. He dominated the conversation with tales of his latest courtroom victories and the high-profile clients he represented. Lucy felt like she was listening to a monologue, and by the end of the night, she realized that Tom's passion for his career left little room for anything else. Lucy's journey through her past relationships continued with similar results. There was Dave, the fitness enthusiast, who turned their lunch date into a grueling workout session. Then came Paul, the artist whose creativity bordered on eccentricity, making their museum visit a surreal experience. And there was Ethan, the aspiring chef who insisted on cooking for her, only to set his kitchen on fire in the process. Each reunion was a comedic disaster in its own way, leaving Lucy feeling more disheartened with each encounter. She began to doubt Madame Zora's prediction and wondered if this whole exercise was a waste of time. Her friends found her stories amusing, often laughing at her misadventures and encouraging her to keep going. It was during one of these conversations with Anna that Lucy mentioned a name she had almost forgotten: Sam. Sam had been her colleague at her first job out of college. They had never dated, but there had always been a spark between them. However, circumstances and their careers had taken them in different directions, and they had lost touch. Curious and with nothing to lose, Lucy decided to look him up. To her surprise, she found him living in the same city. She sent him a message, and they arranged to meet for lunch. As she prepared for the meeting, Lucy couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Perhaps in the midst of all her comedic disasters, there was still a chance that the psychic's prediction would come true. Lucy entered the bustling cafe with a sense of anticipation and nervousness. It had been years since she last saw Sam, and she had no idea what to expect. She scanned the room, her eyes landing on a familiar face. There he was, seated at a corner table, looking almost exactly as she remembered him. Still handsome, with an easy smile that reached his eyes. As she approached, Sam stood up and greeted her warmly. They hugged, and in that brief moment, Lucy felt a rush of nostalgia and something more, a connection that hadn't faded with time. They settled into their seats, and the conversation flowed effortlessly, as if they had never been apart. Sam had left the corporate world a few years ago to start his own business. He now ran a successful consulting firm, helping startups navigate the challenges of growth and development. Lucy was impressed by his achievements and admired his courage to take such a leap. As they talked about their careers, travels, and mutual friends, Lucy found herself genuinely enjoying his company. After lunch, Sam suggested a walk in the nearby park. The weather was perfect, and they strolled along the tree-lined paths, reminiscing about their shared experiences and catching up on everything they had missed in each other's lives. There was a comfort and ease between them that Lucy hadn't felt with any of her exes. As the afternoon turned into evening, they found themselves sitting on a bench by the lake, watching the sunset. It was then that Sam turned to her and said, "You know, Lucy, I've always wondered what would have happened if we had stayed in touch. There was always something special between us." Lucy felt her heart skip a beat. Could it be that Sam was the one she had been searching for all along? The thought was exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. She had spent so much time revisiting her past relationships, only to find that the answer might have been right in front of her all along. Over the next few weeks, Lucy and Sam spent more and more time together. They attended art galleries, explored new restaurants, and even took a weekend trip to the countryside. Each experience brought them closer, and Lucy found herself falling for him all over again. It was as if the universe had given them a second chance. One evening, as they sat on her apartment balcony, sipping wine and gazing at the city lights, Sam took her hand. "Lucy," he began, his voice steady and sincere, "I've realized something over these past few weeks. I've always cared about you, and spending time with you again has made me see that you're the person I want to be with. I don't want to let you go this time." But just as Lucy felt her heart swell with joy, Sam's phone buzzed with a call. He glanced at the screen and frowned. "I need to take this," he said, stepping away. Lucy watched him, feeling a pang of anxiety. When Sam returned, his face was etched with concern. "That was my business partner. There's an urgent situation with one of our clients overseas. I need to fly to London immediately." Lucy's heart sank. "How long will you be gone?" "I don't know," Sam admitted, looking pained. "This could take weeks, maybe even months. I wish the timing was different, but I can't ignore this." Despite their blossoming relationship, Sam's responsibilities pulled him away. They promised to stay in touch, but as days turned into weeks, the distance took its toll. Lucy missed him terribly, and their calls became less frequent. Sam was consumed by work, dealing with crises and trying to stabilize his business. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, Lucy received a message from Sam. "I'm sorry, Lucy, I don't know when I'll be back, and it's not fair to keep you waiting. Maybe it's best if we put this on hold." Lucy's heart broke as she read his words. She understood his position, but felt the loss deeply. The hope that had rekindled within her seemed to dim, and she tried to move on, throwing herself into work and spending time with friends to distract herself from the ache of missing Sam. Months passed, and the holiday season arrived. The city was adorned with twinkling lights and festive decorations, but Lucy felt a lingering sadness. She attended a holiday party with Anna, trying to muster some holiday cheer. At the party, Lucy stood by the window, watching the snow fall gently outside. She couldn't shake the feeling of longing for Sam. Just as she was about to leave, Anna approached her, a mischievous smile on her face. "Lucy, there's someone here to see you." Lucy turned and her breath caught in her throat. There, standing in the doorway, was Sam. He looked tired but relieved. "Lucy," he said, walking toward her, "I'm so sorry. I never should have let you go." Tears welled up in Lucy's eyes as she took a step closer. "What are you doing here, Sam?" "I wrapped up the business overseas. It took longer than I expected, but the whole time all I could think about was you. I realized that no matter what happens, I don't want to be apart from you." Lucy's heart raced as she listened. "I missed you so much, Sam." "I missed you too," he said, reaching for her hand. "I don't want to waste any more time. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." In that moment, surrounded by the warmth and joy of the holiday season, Lucy felt a wave of emotion. Sam had come back, and they were given another chance. The separation had been painful, but it had also made them realize how much they meant to each other. As they shared a tender kiss, the room around them seemed to fade away. It was just the two of them, reunited in true romantic fashion. The obstacles they had faced only strengthened their bond, and Lucy knew that this time they were ready to face whatever life threw at them together. With Sam by her side, Lucy felt a renewed sense of hope and excitement for the future. The journey to find her true love had been filled with unexpected twists and turns, but it had led her to the person she was meant to be with. They embraced the new chapter of their lives, knowing that their love had withstood the test of time and distance, and it would continue to flourish in the days to come.